Jacquelyn, we are back for another episode of discussing the Stanley Cup playoffs, the
Woo!
most amazing tournament in all of sports. Uh,
Absolutely.
so, how did we do in the last round?
Well, you were perfect and I was perfectly wrong. It was a beautiful thing. I couldn't be happier to have been wrong in my predictions. I predicted with my head, not my heart, and my heart was right. So, and even though I was 0 for 2 and you were 2 for 2, I'm delighted. So, you had said that the Rangers Panthers series that the Panthers would win in 6, and they did, I believe, win in 6. I had said that the Rangers would win in 7. You and I couldn't be happier that the Rangers are out. We like to call them the team that shall not be named. And then on the Dallas and Edmonton series, we were both wrong in the number of games. We both said the series would go 7 games. It did not. It went 6 games. But you accurately predicted the amazing men from Edmonton to win, and I predicted Dallas, my local team. I am thrilled that Edmonton won. So congratulations, Mike. You were 2 for 2. Well predicted, and I'm really glad you were right.
Well, and Dallas did everything they could to make that series go to a game 7. Like they did everything they could. There was so much pressure at the end of that game. I think I heard this right, that Edmonton had the lowest shots on goal for a team that won a Stanley Cup playoff series final in the final game of that series, or the last game of that series. So it could have been in game 4, or it could have been in game 5 or game 6 or whatever,
Yeah,
but
it was some.
it
It was
was it was
crazy.
crazy. They had less than 10 shots. I think
I
they
think they
ended
had
up with
10
10
shots.
shots on
It
goal.
was 35 to 10 shots.
And it's so Skinner was playing out of his mind,
Yes.
and Edmonton just wasn't getting the puck on net.
But when they did, boy, did it work.
Oh, that McDavid goal is a thing of beauty, and you will see this over and over and over again because he does it. It's, I mean, again, it looks like a dance. He starts on one
Maybe
side
we
of the
can get it
offensive
and or record it on the video here. But keep talking. Talk about it.
starts on one side of the offensive zone and kind of comes over to the other faceoff circle, pulls back around the front of the goal, like slides, literally looks like he's sliding across the front of the goal, and scores on a backhand shot, which is absolutely, it was a thing of beauty. And
It
when you watch it in
was.
slow motion, it's even more amazing than watching it in real time because you just see the detail behind it. And so an
Oh
awesome
yeah.
goal. I am very happy that the series ended the way that they did. I would have liked to have seen that go 7 games. I hope the Stanley Cup final goes 7 games. So who do we have in the Stanley Cup final?
Well, here's we have, of course, the Florida Panthers against the Edmonton Oilers, but here on the McDavid goal, this is worth saying. So this is how one commentator wrote about it. He said this goal, however, featured not one nor two, but 3 otherworldly moves by McDavid in weaving the seemingly impossible sequence together. First, getting around and keeping penalty killer Sam Steele at bay before. Second, toe dragging the puck past swiping top defender Miro Heiskanen. And third, quickly shifting to his backhand to shelve it past all-star goalie Jake Ottinger amongst a crowd of players.
It was poetic. It was
It
amazing to
was.
watch. So we'll include a link in the show notes to be able to watch the video of the goal because there's so many different highlights of it that are out there.
Oh,
I
yes.
retweeted it at least 2 times, probably 3 times. The joke was that, or one of the comments on Twitter was that if there was any doubt, now he understands that McDavid is a witch, and it was absolutely phenomenal. So okay, so we've
It
got
was one of the prettiest goals I've ever seen, I will
so
say.
we've got the Oilers playing the Panthers, Oilers and Panthers in the Stanley Cup Finals. One of the cool things about this Stanley Cup final is it will be the longest trip for each team that they've made in any cup final, where you've got a
I did
team
not know
coming
that.
down
That's
from
crazy.
Florida. Yeah, you've got a team coming down from Florida that has to go all the way up to Edmonton, and then they'll have to return. So there's going to be a lot of travel that happens. I think they had it at 2,500 miles, might be 2,543 or something like that. And this is one of those weird things where the details get stuck in my head. I am not Rain
Well,
Man.
it's like Miami to all the way up to Edmonton. It's
It
not
is
like
that's
it's not like it's North Florida. It's Miami.
it is Miami. So you're hitting South Florida all the way up. to Edmonton. And for the people in Florida, we understand that it's Sunshine. I think that's the name of it, is Sunshine, Florida, which is just north of Fort Lauderdale. So I know we understand you're not in North Hollywood. You are not in Miami. You're in a specific area, but there you go for that
Semantics.
details. Semantics. Well, they matter because the details matter. So in order to get to this
It's true.
level of the game, this opportunity to win the cup, you pay attention to details. You over focus on the fundamentals. You get those things done. You block and tackle, or the equivalent when it comes to hockey. You play your shifts. You don't get yourself into a situation. And there was a lot of talk about this too, about toward the end of the game when Dallas was really pressing, the risk of staying on the ice a little bit too long and then getting tired legs and not staying tight with your shifts so that you're bringing the energy that you need to on the ice when you're out there. All right. So let's talk about Edmonton and Florida.
Yes.
Who do you got?
Well, who do I got? I'm going with my head and my heart, which are aligned for the Edmonton Oilers.
All right.
What about you? You're allowed to pick the same team.
Say that one more time.
You're allowed to pick the same team as me.
I'm going to choose the other team only because I'd rather have us be able to go back and forth and kind of battle with each other in this process. Like I think that could be, I think it's fun. It makes the back and forth text messages. Here's the cool thing. Neither of us really, I don't have a dog in the hunt.
Right.
So I can get myself to rally around the reason to be around a team. And what I care about is I'd love to see the thing go 7 games. I gave one of our friends, Scott Leese, I gave Leese a hard time because Knobloch in one of his press conferences was asked if it matters that Florida is coming with all of this experience. And Florida was in the cup last year and lost. And he said, I'm going to paraphrase her, but he was basically like, well, I don't know. How much does it matter to the Buffalo Bills? And it was awesome because the Buffalo Bills lost multiple Super Bowls, right? Like we all know this. So sometimes experience matters. And so I'm with Lise. I will back the Panthers only because you chose the Oilers, and we will have fun with our text back and forth. So how does Edmonton win the series?
Well, so here's how I think Edmonton wins the series. I said, Florida's a great team. Like they're evenly matched from so many aspects, right? So Florida has a little bit of a better overall record from the regular season or so far. They've got more points for the season. Edmonton's got more goals per game. They've also got more goals against them per game. Very fine line, but more, more against them. They're better than Florida on the power play. They're not as good as Florida when they're in the penalty kill. So that being said, they're evenly matched. Here's where I think the difference maker happens, right? So going for Florida, what's in their favor, Matthew Tkachuk and Sergei Bobrovsky.
Hold on, you're going to steal my opportunity to talk about how Florida wins while I asked you about talking about how Edmonton wins. Come on, stick with your team. Talk about how does Edmonton win the series?
So that's all that they've got going for them is all I'm saying. What we've got going for us on the Edmonton side is it's a plethora of things. So the depth of the Edmonton Oilers, I think, is what wins us, right? Obviously you've got stars like Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, who I love, but they've got an excellent goaltender in Stuart Skinner. They've got Zach Hyman. They've got Corey Perry, who I actually loathe, but Corey Perry is effective at what he's effective at. And I just think you've got Darnell Nurse, you've got Evander Kane. It's a very deep bench. And I don't see that kind of depth on the bench of the Florida Panthers. And wait, we've got Vladimir Tarasenko as well, right? For the Oilers, right? Am I wrong about that?
Okay. So you got a lot of talent.
Yeah, a lot of talent, good goaltending, and McJesus, and a guy who is behind, I think, only Gretzky and Lemieux in getting to 100 playoff points in 60 games. Like how fast he got there. That's Leon Draisaitl. That's not Connor McDavid. When your second best guy is a legend, that's a good thing. All right. So that's why Edmonton's going to win. The depth, and they've got goaltending that, while I don't think it's equal to Bob, is pretty damn close.
Well, so there you go. You stole my thunder again. What about Bob?
But what about Bob?
I
didn't steal anything from you.
So
You can
Bob,
edit this. You can edit me out.
I'm not going to edit anything. We're not editing any of this. We're just
This is
running this,
uncut.
and we'll get some of the ums and out of there if I've got a couple of those. And this is one that I'm going to have to keep in, or it's going to sound really weird, where it's going to be like, we'll get some of the, and then we have space. Actually,
All
if
right, tell
you're
me why
interested,
Florida's going to win.
here are the tools that I use now, that we use
Ooh.
now to edit both the video and the audio version of the podcast. TechSmith's Camtasia is what I use to edit video, and TechSmith Audiate is what I use to edit the audio. And when you pull those two together, it actually saves a significant amount of time on our end and resources. Meaning I don't have to outsource it as much, which is going to help us with production. Back to the important discussion. So Bob, I'm excited to watch Bob continue to play the way that he is playing. And the cool part about this time of year is goaltenders can steal series. They can steal games. They can steal Stanley Cups. And I think Bob is playing out of his mind. The other thing I like about the way the Panthers play is they are very physical. They will grind you to the ground and just stifle things. And there's, I think a couple of people
That's what
have
they
talked
did to
about
the
this
Rangers.
before.
Yeah.
It is. And the Rangers, that series doesn't go 6 games if it isn't for Shesterkin and the way that he's playing.
Shesterkin, yeah,
he was amazing. And I don't even want to talk about that team. I'm really happy that they're eliminated. To all of the fans of that team, oh well. So you've got a very physical team who has experience, knows what it feels like to lose last year, see it taken away from them where they felt like they were on top and they were moving toward it. And I'm excited to see what they bring to what they bring to the series. It's kind of like the Devils way back when they would just kind of stifle you in the neutral zone, how the Panthers can actually fight. So I'm optimistic that the Panthers win the series. I could have gone either way on it. I think you can kind of work through some logic on how or why either team wins. The mental toughness that Edmonton brings based on the experience that they had with Skinner earlier in the playoffs, and some of the coaching that they're getting there is actually really powerful. So I think they've got a mindset of, they're bringing a really good mindset into this whole thing. Physically, though, I think the Panthers will control them. I think they'll take care of a lot of the speed that the Oilers have.
The Oilers have speed way above Florida. I agree. Florida has strength too, but I don't see it overcoming that. But I respect your opinion.
Yeah, but that other team that we were talking about, the Rangers, they were built to win a cup. Like when I saw the Rangers play the Islanders in one of the Winter Classic games, and I forget what they call it for this series, but it was the Stadium Series. So they're out playing at MetLife. It was insane to watch how fast and how physical that team was, and they just were picking up momentum, and they were building momentum. They were built for it, and then they completely crumbled. And the reason they crumbled is because they ran into a team that was locked in, a physical team that was able to stifle them, slow them down, disrupt things. And again, without the goaltender on their side, I don't know that game. I don't think that series goes as long as it did. So, all right. So you've got the Oilers. I've got the Panthers. How many games does this series go?
Oh, we don't need it for a tiebreaker, but I hope it goes 7. I'll be ready to throw up if it goes 7.
I hope it goes 7.
Oilers in 6.
I hope it goes 7 as well, primarily because it's just fun. It's fun to have hockey play. And if the Oilers win, I'd rather them win in 6, because I think it's pretty cool when you win on home ice and the fans get to experience all of that. And if it goes, and the Panthers win, it goes, I hope that it's either at 5 or 7. And really what I'd like to see is have it go 7 games, just because we're going to get into this really, really dark period where we do not have hockey for a couple of months. And we
say to each other, is it October yet? That's what we start saying to each other.
And it will happen. Like October will happen, and it'll all be here. And that's the other thing I've got to figure out between now and the beginning of October is who's going to be my West Coast team, because the NHL sucked the local team out of the Valley. Phoenix, the Coyotes no longer exist. They're now up in Utah. So we don't get to see local NHL hockey. So I got to figure out who's going to be my West Coast team. Who am I going to adopt as a West Coast team? Who do you think I should adopt?
As your West Coast team?
Yeah.
Well, it could be Edmonton. It could be the Chicago Blackhawks. You do have a Blackhawks jersey.
There is no way. This is the only reason I have a Blackhawks jersey is an homage to Clark Griswold. There is no way I am jumping on the Blackhawks bandwagon, even though I think it was all
bandwagon
it was a sham that they ended up getting Bedard when they won that lottery.
You're never gonna. You need to let that go.
Yeah, well, it's hard to let things.
Amy Looper would tell you their trauma-based issues with the Blackhawks and the NHL draft needs to be let go of.
It does, and it probably will not be. There's a lot of trauma that for whatever reason, I just decide to hold on to and fester. And I'm a Jets fan, New York Jets fan, not a Winnipeg Jets fan.
Why don't you be a LA Kings fan? I love the Kings.
Yeah.
You live down there.
So if I'm going to go that side, that's probably going to be Anaheim. I'm going to go with the Ducks.
Absolutely not. I will not allow that.
Yeah, I go with the Ducks, but the reason, so why would I go with the Ducks?
I can't allow you to be a Ducks fan.
Went to high school in Southern California. I remember
don't
going to games
that.
at the Pond way back when. I don't think it's even called the Pond anymore. Was it the Honda Center? So Paul Correa, Teemu Solani.
Oh, I like Teemu Solani. Yeah.
Your guy that you said that you don't like, but you do like, but you want him to win a cup, Corey Perry.
Yeah.
So to me, it's between
you can
the
like
Ducks.
Whoever you want. I don't care.
Yeah. To me, you care. To me, it's between the Ducks and the Kraken. The Ducks and the Kraken.
At least I can mock you for the stupid name of the Kraken. Do the Kraken, and I can mock you. You lived in Seattle for a while. You hated Seattle.
Lived in Seattle. I actually loved Seattle when we would visit it. I did not like Seattle when we lived there. Seattle was an amazing place to visit. It just wasn't set up for someone who likes the sun.
And yeah, you are a lizard. Yeah.
Thank you.
I mean that in the best way.
So you've got the Oilers in 6. You hope it goes 7. I've got the Panthers in 7. I hope it goes 7. And we will see what happens. All right. If you know somebody who would enjoy this conversation, please share it with them. If you're into hockey, let Jacquelyn and I know. You can connect up with us both on LinkedIn. We'll include links in the show notes. Sales is a thinking process. Business is a thinking process. Life is a thinking process. How are you thinking differently about yours?